Thanks, Bob. And if you're thinking about selling or your home or buying a new one, you need to know more about how mortgage rates work before you get started. Paula Scott joins us now from Best Rate Financial with some tips that I think not a lot of people know of. You think a mortgage is a mortgage, but they're all very different.
They are very different.
And the rules have changed a lot. The federal government has, for one thing, with the CMHC mortgage, they've narrowed the scope of how long you can have a mortgage for.
Yes. Not only have they narrowed the amount of time that you can have a mortgage for, but it puts a lot of people that are first-time home buyers out of the running for new homes. That's why the housing market's been a bit soft, because new-time home buyers are not as likely to come to the forefront. The gross debt service, which is your principal, your interest, and your taxes, can now equal 39% of your gross income, whereas prior to the change in CMHC, it was 32%. That sounds like not a lot, but if 40% of your gross income is going to housing, it really limits your ability to jump into the housing market.
Especially if you're relying on a job that maybe is uncertain and...
Yes, and in the times of uncertainty, that's why, you know, the last half of 2012 was quite slow and quite weak, is because people are kind of sitting on the sidelines waiting to figure out whether they want to jump into the housing market. Do they want to move? Do they want to renovate? There's all those questions coming up, because it's not as straightforward as it once was, where, oh, we'll just sell our house and we'll buy something bigger.
Exactly, exactly. We're running into a situation now, too, with we've had historically low interest rates for months and months and months, and now we're just kind of waiting for the shoe to drop from the federal government, from the Bank of Canada, right?
That's correct, and everybody just keeps waiting and waiting, and it's one of those things that you just don't know when it's going to happen. It obviously is going to happen, because the spreads, the bond rate spreads, are too narrow, and the banks aren't, if you will, not making enough money. They're still making plenty of money.
Yes, they are.
They feel that their margins are too tight, so that's why everybody's waiting for interest rates to rise.
And talking about interest rates, we're talking about first-time home buyers. What if you're near the end of your mortgage and you want to get out of it? There are charges if you want to buy out early.
Yes,
if you're that lucky.
Yes, if you're that lucky. Your prepayment penalties can vary. It can either be 3 months interest rate, or it can be an interest rate differential. As an example, if you have a 5% mortgage rate right now, and the reinvestment rate for that same money is 3%, that means that you're going to pay a 2% spread on the amount of money for the length of time that your mortgage is running. That can get very costly, very, very costly to people. So a lot of times, if people are in at a higher interest rate, they'll just choose to stay in it until it comes up for renewal.
Until it runs out, yes. Now, let's talk about the benefits of using a mortgage broker as well, because, I mean, you could go and you could shop around to all the banks, but you, as a mortgage broker, you know all the banks.
I know all the banks. I've got 70 different lenders available at my fingertips, as well as being a mortgage broker, you get better rates. So as an example, if you're a Scotiabank client, you could go in there, they would give you, I just give an example, 1% off, but you come to my office, I can give you 1.5% off.
Because they know you, they know you've got a lot of clientele.
Right, and they know you've got volume. So it's not a one-to-one, it's volume buying versus single buying.
We've only got about 30 seconds left, but I want to get into, I know sometimes it can be overwhelming. You go in, you get pre-approved for a mortgage, and it seems like a huge amount of money. Should you always be going to the top level of what you're pre-approved for?
Not if you'd like to sleep at night.
Yes, and worry about things, right?
I mean, a lot of people do base buying a house on 2 incomes, and that's great, other than in times of uncertainty if one of the couple may or may not lose their job. So to max yourself out is putting yourself in a bit of a precarious position, because you're not really sure about, you know, whether you're going to be able to afford that into the future.
Right. Okay, some good tips there. More tips at bestratefinancial.ca?
That's correct.
Okay, Paula, thanks so much for coming in. Now we're